Are you struggling through this COVID season? Well, we're about to get some advice from a NASA astronaut today. Check it out. I thought we would do something a little bit fun, a little bit different today. I actually stumbled across an article in the New York Times by Scott Kelly, who is a NASA astronaut. He's actually retired, but he wrote an article called "I Spent a Year in Space," and he feels like he can touch on what it's like to live in isolation. Now, I know we're not in strict isolation anymore, even though we might have an opportunity to go back into that. But right now in this season, everything looks different. The way we go to work, the way we go to school, the more time we spend at home. And so I thought this article actually touches on some really good advice. He's got 7 tips for us today of how we can look at this season a little bit different. So he said when he spent 1 year at the International Space Station. And if you can imagine being in a tiny, confined space, I would probably go crazy. But he said that he woke up in the morning and he was at work, and he would go to bed at night and he was still at work. And so he had to learn how to navigate that season of his life. So the first thing that he says is to follow a schedule. And this is my favorite because you all know me. I love schedules. I love to-do lists. I love plans. I love to know what's happening. He said it doesn't have to be the same thing every day. One day he would go for an 8-hour spacewalk, and the next day he would go for a 30-second tour around the International Space Station. But he had a schedule and he knew what he was doing every day. And he actually said that maintaining a plan will help you and your family adjust to work and school and home life. And he said when he got back to Earth, he actually craved a schedule. He missed not having a schedule. And he said, even though you should follow a schedule, you should actually pace yourself. Because if you do too much work, you can get totally absorbed in work and forget about everything else. And so he said, don't forget to have time for fun. Don't be so confined to the schedule that you don't make time for fun. And did you know he and his crewmates actually had movie nights on the space station, and they actually had games nights as well. So maybe that's an idea for you and your family to do something fun. Make Wednesday night a games night and actually stay home and play a board game at your dining room table. Now, this is a big one. He said that bedtime is actually really important. And even though you're thinking an astronaut, an adult, why does he have to care about bedtimes? He said that research shows that the quality of sleep actually creates a better mood, better mind structure, and better interpersonal relational skills. So if you feel like you're being a little bit short at work, or maybe your kids are having a hard time doing homework, or they're a little short at home, bedtimes are so important. And I know in our house, even though this season is so strange right now, our kids are kind of treating it like summertime. We don't really have strict bedtimes in the summertime. It's kind of, the sun goes down later, and so the kids stay up later. And in this season right now, they're trying to push for that. They're trying to say, we don't have to go to school every day. We do school at home and school at school. So maybe on the nights that we have school at home the next day, we can stay up later. But bedtime structure is so important. He also suggests to go outside. And we've said this before, and this is such a beautiful time of year to go outside and go for a walk and see the leaves changing color. He said take advantage of the smells and the sights and your senses and that warm sunshine. The one thing that he missed the most about being in space was being able to just go outside, and we can take advantage of that at any time. The interesting thing is he said he craved the color green, the smell of fresh dirt, and the feel of the warm sun on his face. He also suggests that we get a hobby. Maybe you've got more time on your hands now, and it's a great opportunity for you to find a hobby. Maybe read a book, follow a podcast, jump on a Bible study, learn an instrument, take up art. Maybe even try to read the Bible in 1 year. I know I'm trying to do that. I'm doing a study right now, reading the Bible in 40 days, and it's really awesome. He said that there's just something when you're reading a book, about a physical book, that doesn't ping at you constantly with new notifications, and you don't have to close a bunch of tabs while you're reading. You can just turn the pages and jump right in. Another suggestion he makes is keep a journal. And we've said this a lot of times, not just listing chronologically your life during COVID, but maybe things that you're learning how to do during the season, or the way you look at life, and maybe things that have changed and things that are different. And he said, instead of trying to describe everything you're experiencing, use your 5 senses to write sentences about what's happening. And we've said this before too, to create a prayer journal. Maybe you have some prayer requests in this season, and as you're writing them down, you can look back and see all of the answers to prayer that God has done in your life. One more thing he says is make time to connect. And obviously when he was in a space station for a year, he couldn't physically connect with people, so he did so many video chats with family, with friends, meetings with all the rocket scientists back on Earth. This is an important season for you to be connected. So we want to encourage you to be a part of a watch party at our church. We've got them lots of different days during the week if you want to join one online. We do have some that are still meeting in person, but connection is such a huge thing. Even if it's on Zoom, whether the reception's good or bad, you get to see people's faces, and that's such a good thing. He says to listen to experts, and we are trying to listen to the government. We're trying to listen to the World Health Organization and all the different things that are happening just for that advice and that sense of peace and health and safety. But we also are trusting in Jesus. This season has not surprised God, and so we are trusting in God to do the right thing and to keep our faith happening. So this is kind of a cool thing, just to be able to hear from an astronaut, just kind of a different take on this season and what isolation looks like. But I want to encourage you. You will survive this season, but you don't have to do it alone. We want to help, and you've got Jesus on your side.